Welcome to Colourful Keys Quick Clip number 8. In this clip you're going to meet Steve the Stickler. Steve is a tiny little lobster. He's a little stuffed animal, and the way that I use Steve is kind of inspired by the way Tim Topham uses his ladybug. He calls her Linda, I think, in his Notebook Beginner's course in the Inner Circle. I love this idea of having a character do your technique corrections for you, and I employed Steve for the job. So Steve is the one that checks up on all the techniques since last year, but just this year I started having Steve do a little warm-up routine with them at the start. Now we did this every single week for the first 4 weeks, and now we're just doing it periodically just to check in quickly, not running through the whole routine every time. These girls have already gone through the routine, so they know how it all works. What happens is we do a quick warm-up with the arms, swinging them around and lifting them and feeling the arm weight, and then we go to the keys, and that's the bit you're seeing here. They sit down and Steve checks their posture, and then they raise their hand to the keys 3 times to show their beautiful hand-shaped, their piano hands, to Steve as well. Now Steve doesn't have to do too much correcting in this video, just a little bit at the start as Lily needs to scooch forward onto the front of the bench. He sits on people's heads, which you'll see him do there. That's to encourage them to sit up tall and straight, and he sometimes puts his little claw underneath their piano hand to check that there's enough space there. This is a lot of fun. It makes kids enthusiastic about technique. They're always asking about Steve and whether he's sleeping or whether he's awake, because he wakes up when their technique goes a little bit off during the lesson, or they start wriggling or take their feet off the bench, the stool underneath. So Steve wakes up and he comes and he sits wherever it is that there's a problem. And they love Steve. They're always asking about him. I've had a student ask whether Steve gets a holiday each year or whether he has to work straight through. I told him that Steve gets a holiday when I get a holiday. Whenever I go away, Steve gets to relax and chill out. And he had all sorts of more questions for that, so we did have to redirect the attention back to the lesson in that particular case. But Steve the Stickler is a lot of fun, and I really encourage you to make up your own little character to check up on technique in your studio. Enjoy the clip. Steve's waking up. What is Steve angry about? Oh, she knows straight away. Okay. Steve's happy with that. Sitting up nice and tall. Okay, can you show Steve your hands? Oh, take them away again. Let's see it 2 more times. Back to the keys. Nice round handshake. Great. 1 more time. That's it. Fantastic. Emma, show us your wonderful piano posture. Or show Steve, rather. Okay, Steve's watching your hands. Beautiful. And again. 1 more time. Fantastic.